Demons are a race of fiends that exist in a chaotic society, and although they are random and unpredictable, they still have standard types of demons and behave in certain, somewhat predictable ways. How and why is this possible? Well, we will discuss that in this video, along with covering the hierarchy of a demon, going from a mortal soul all the way up to a demon lord, and the politics of demons and how they behave towards each other when it comes to displaying and maintaining their personal power. First, let's talk about the creation of demons. How are they created and where do they come from? Like most outsiders, demons can be formed from the souls of mortals who wind up in their afterlife. In this case, they are created from chaotic evil souls who are sent to the abyss. In first edition, those souls that get sent become manes. The most evil of them are confined in the tiers of flame of Gehenna, which is not the abyss, which I find very strange, and then some manes will be used to form shadows or gas depending on the greatness of their evil immortal life. In second edition, souls that get sent, if they worship a deity that resides in the abyss, they go to their domain and they take on the form of the god's choosing. If the mortal did not pledge their life to any one power, his spirit becomes a disgusting larva that appears in the Mountain of Woe, the 400th layer of the abyss, where it is judged by pompous Nalfejni according to the following guidelines. Spirits with little promise become manes, fit only as food or supremely expendable soldiers. Like larvae, manes are not technically considered demons, they are still petitioners. Spirits that seem sufficiently evil and malleable become dretches, honest-to-goodness members of the fiendish race. Especially proud spirits that need to learn humility and humiliation become rudderkin, mightier than either manes or dretches, but also more reviled. Of course, the judges don't always follow these guidelines. They are chaotic after all. Also, how does a Nalfejni judge a writhing larva? Well, they probably don't. They claim to be able to spot the best and most promising larvae, but that's doubtful. Most likely it's completely arbitrary. Demons have established a method of selection that's really just a dark mockery of a lawful ordered system. Unlike the devils, the demons do not apply high standards and will turn basically every larva into a demon. In addition to petitioners, tanar'ri can also spontaneously spring up from the abyss. Technically, this can happen for Batazu too, but it is much more common for demons. These are the reasons that demons outnumber the devils by such a large margin. Devils can spontaneously arise from Beator, but it is very rare, where in the abyss it isn't that uncommon. The Batazu are very selective about which larvae are worthy of being turned into one of them. Only 1 in every 1,000 will be chosen to become a lowly lemur, while the demons promote almost every single larva that comes their way. In 3rd edition, some say demons are spawned from the abyss directly. Some say chaotic evil souls go to the abyss, are tortured, and eventually become a demon. Some say certain individuals make pacts with demon lords, promising to serve them in life so that when they die, they instantly are turned into a more powerful form of demon. Demons are chaotic, unpredictable, and follow no set rules or structure, so it makes sense they would be created in the same fashion. Normally though, a mortal soul that winds up in the abyss starts off as a larva. These are usually devoured by other demons, but sometimes they are promoted to a least demon, such as a Quasit, Dretch, Mane, or Rudderkin. An especially evil soul, such as the soul of a great dictator or violent mastermind, might evolve immediately into a more powerful demon. Chaotic evil mortals who worshipped a specific demon lord will go to their lair upon death, usually manifesting as manes. In 5th edition, manes specifically are created from mortal souls, but a majority of demons are spawned from the abyss itself. I think 5th edition is the only edition where demons made from mortal souls are the minority. Now let's discuss the different types of demons, their ordering from weakest to strongest, and how demons are promoted from one form to another. Unlike the lawful devils, the chaotic demons do not have a strict structured hierarchy. The one who rules is simply the one who can force their will over the other demons. If you're stronger and smarter, then you're above the ones who are weaker and dumber than you. It is as straightforward as that. Although demons are chaotic, there are consistent types of demons, and scholars have attempted to categorize these in a classification system based on broad estimates of destructive power. But keep in mind that demons are chaotic, lawless creatures that do not see it this way. These classifications are created by mortal scholars, not the demons. A lesser demon that bests a greater demon gains a higher status in the abyss. This hierarchy is simply the most commonly observed social status of these demons, and even then, there are plenty of demons that are not classified into these types and stand on their own, with no information being given on where in the hierarchy they stand. Demons are extremely diverse, evolving to a form best suited for survival in the layer they live, so this list does not cover every type of demon, but just the more common ones that have been discovered. For every form we see, there's 50 we don't. Now, why are there common features among demons? If demons are chaotic, why are there so many Barguras and so many Nabasu? Shouldn't every individual be a completely new and unique form dissimilar to every other? Well, 3rd edition has an answer from the demonologist Tolkien Nor Am. Quote, "But why would there be commonalities at all? Aren't demons spawned from chaos?" Am had a very logical explanation for why even the Abyss would abide by some vague sense of order. Demons derive from the very essence of their home plane, and the Abyss hungers for chaos and evil, using its creatures to bring more of the universe back to its ultimate starting point. For this purpose, Am believed that the Abyss spawns even its most diverse demonic creations with the qualities most useful in spreading chaos and evil, as well as a burning desire to do so, thus creating a repetition of certain commonly found fiendish traits." End quote. In 1st edition, the ordering of weakest to greatest went as follows, classifying different demons as types 1 through 6. A type 1 demon was a Vrak. Type 2 were the Hezru, Type 3 were the Glabrizu, Type 4 was the Nalfejni, Type 5 was the Merilith, and the Type 6 demon was the Baelor. In addition to those 6, you also had Mains, which was the first form a soul takes on when arriving in the Abyss. In 1st edition, these are categorized as sub-demons. 1st edition also had the Succubus as a demon, but I'm not sure where in the hierarchy it falls. The Elu demon and Cambion are semi-demons. An Elu demon is the offspring of a succubi and a human, and they are always female, and a Cambion is the offspring of a human with any other demon. The Babau, Barlugoras, Chasmes, Dretches, and Rudderkin are simply referred to as minor demons, but I'm not exactly sure what that means or how they are created. The Nabasu is classified as a major demon, but once again, no explanation as to what that means. Quasits are not originally demons, but a larva turned into a demon form. They serve chaotic evil spellcasters to help them wreak havoc on the material world. They also attempt to destroy lawful evil humans in order to steal their souls for demons and be rewarded. Upon their master's death, they must grab the soul and rush back to the Abyss. If it has done enough evil, the demon lord will turn it into a Type 1 or Type 2 demon. If it hasn't done enough evil, it will be turned into a main, larva, or back into a quasit. After Baelor, you then have Demon Lords and Demon Princes as the strongest forms of demons. Demon Lords rule over parts of a layer, and a Demon Prince rules an entire layer. There is no mention in 1st edition as to how a demon transforms into a stronger form. In 2nd edition, it is said that the tanar'ri evolve and adapt themselves to the rigors of the Abyss. It's the only way anything could live here, and that has shaped every successive form they've ever taken. This is not an automatic change that's forced on them. They take their cues from the strength and staying power of the more experienced members of the race, and slowly change themselves into the forms that have the best chance of survival in their home layers. They do this through sheer will, or rather belief. If a tanar'ri believes it's tougher than those around it, and those around it believe it to be that tough, then it can slowly change its shape into something new and horrifying. Power equals station. In the Abyss, a fiend earns status not by what it looks like, but by what it does. Quote, "Plenty of folks don't think that faith alone is enough to power the tanar'ri's transformations. They're certain that other forces, perhaps the Baelors or the Malfejni, channel and manipulate the belief. Others hold that the Abyss itself raises the tanar'ri to their positions without regard for their ability or brainpower. And, of course, groups like the Fraternity of Order suspect that a secret order underlies everything. The pattern's not apparent, but they say it's there. Which of the theories is true? It could be any one of them, or perhaps none of them, or perhaps all of them. In the Abyss, it's hard to be sure of anything." End quote. 2nd edition, instead of using the types 1 through 6 classification system, it uses the least, lesser, greater, true, and guardian classifications. So first you have the least demons. The first of these are the mains, the basic source of food in the Abyss. They are not considered real tanar'ri, but are just petitioners. Every once in a while, a main realizes that everyone else is stronger than it is, and fights to improve its position. Only about 1 in 1,000 of these mains ever make it to the next rank of power, the Dretch. Every now and then a Dretch takes command of its pack and becomes a Rudderkin. All tanar'ri, even Dretches, despise Rudderkin, as they are seen as incompetent, pitiful weaklings. After the least demons, you have the lesser demons. The weakest of these are the crossbreeds, and the weakest of the crossbreeds are the Elu fiends, the female children of a succubus and a mortal. They are outcasts among tanar'ri and work hard to prove their hatred or vent it. Next are the Cambions, children of a female mortal and male demon, used as bodyguards and assassins. Next are the Armanites, which are made from weaker tanar'ri that manage to ascend to a better position, or by two Armanites mating, used as mercenaries and knights. Next is the Marizi. Created by an Abyssal lord, they steal memories from the dead. Next are succubi and incubi. They can take the form of any mortal, making themselves extraordinarily attractive to tempt mortals. Next are the Yok'lo. These are the handmaidens of the drow goddess Lolth. They are said to be created from lesser tanar'ri that are corrupted and twisted to serve Lolth. They don't have much to do with the regular dealings of the race, and they only serve the drow goddess. Next up in the lesser demons is the Barlugora, the orangutan-looking primitive demon. The highest of the lesser types is the Bulazal. These act similar to the mains and Dretches in that they attack any foe they see, and if they don't see a foe, they will make one soon enough. Greater tanar'ri. These are the tanar'ri that have risen to a position of real power. The Nabasu are the weakest of the greater. They exist to strike fear into mortals of the material plane so that they will believe the demons to be powerful, thus making them powerful, since the outer planes are powered by belief. The Chasmi, or the Chasmi, are the fly-like agents of the true tanar'ri. They punish Abyssal warriors who abandon the blood war and are talented torturers. Most Chasmi are formed from other Chasmi laying eggs, which they can do without mating. Babaus recruit other fiends to fight in the blood war. If they can't find enough, they take their place. Next up, you have the Goristro. The Goristroi are extremely dumb but large and are used to carry lesser tanar'ri into battle. The most powerful of all greater tanar'ri are the Wastrolith. They live in Demogorgon's lair, the Gaping Maw, and swim in the Styx, which they are immune to, but they do not serve Demogorgon. I'm not exactly sure what they do or what purpose they serve. True tanar'ri. Never bored into their position, the true tanar'ri are all formed from weaker demons. The true tanar'ri take the blood war very seriously, and they're the ones forcing the weaker demons into fighting in it. Without them, the demons wouldn't care. They see the advance of the Batazu as an encroachment on the pure chaos they love. The weakest true tanar'ri are the Vrox, fighters that work together, which is surprising for demons, which makes them a very effective opponent. The Hezru command the armies of lesser demons. The Glabrizu are fearsome overlords and are the demons most commonly summoned to the Prime. They don't always rip the conjurer's head off, but sometimes tempt them with magic and power, and then when the time is right, draws away much of their strength, as well as the power of his very plane. Alkalists are the creation of the demon lord of oozes, Jublex, but they go on missions for all the lords. They do not have to fight in the blood war. Meriliths are the deep thinkers and great tacticians. They have mastered the inner rages of the tanar'ri and can anticipate the patterns of law, even though they do not really understand them. They are the ones making the plans in the blood war. The next up in the true tanar'ri is the Nalfejni. These are the judges of petitioners that arrive in the abyss. And then, the Baelors, the most powerful of the true tanar'ri. They are above the cold logic of the Meriliths. They are passion and reason combined. A lightning dance of pure hatred and emotion unchained. Baelors exist to inspire their kind and destroy all others, and they do both very well. After true tanar'ri, the next classification and the highest, not counting demon lords, is the guardian tanar'ri. The only guardian tanar'ri there is the Mali Deus. The Mali Dei exists to make sure the true tanar'ri remain faithful to the vision of the blood war. They report to Baelors and are beneath them, but they will not hesitate to punish a Baelor that does not show the proper motivation. Who knows where they come from or why? Some think they were placed in the abyss by another force, for why would the Baelors intentionally put something there that will punish them for being free? Now, to sum up the 2nd edition Demon Hierarchy, I will quote the Planes of Chaos box set. To carry the analogy further as a Prime might see it, the Abyssal Lords are the tanar'ri kings, Baelor are generals, Merilith are strategists, Nalfejni are the judges and torturers, the Mali Dei are the quartermasters and recruiting sergeants, Among the lesser tanar'ri, Vrak are the aerial scout and skirmishers, Glabrizu the spies and power brokers, Hezru the heavy troops, Armenites the cavalry, Succubi and Incubi are tempters, and the mains are peasants. Rudderkin are skirmishers and camp followers." End quote. One thing I noticed is that the Plane of Chaos box set that I just quoted refers to Vraks as lesser tanar'ri, but then Faces of Evil the Fiends, which is also 2nd edition, says Vraks are true tanar'ri, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. It might have just been referencing Vraks as lesser in the sense that they were weaker than the other previously mentioned ones, that's my guess. 3rd edition doesn't use any classification system, accepting that they are chaotic beings that do whatever they want and don't follow rules or orderings. They do, however, have challenge ratings that help gauge each one's estimated power. This follows a similar pattern to the other editions. In terms of promotion, the leading theory in 3rd edition from the Demonomicon is that mains advance to Dretches or Rudderkin based on the whims of Nalfezhni or Baelors. Then they trudge away in servitude, longing for the spark required to transform them into a higher order demon. How exactly they get this spark, it does not say. Another theory in 3rd edition, from Tolkien Nor Am's Black Scrolls of Am, says that demon spawn could instantly become any level of demon, depending on the desires of the Abyss itself. This same source describes the hierarchy of demons as in the shape of a drop of blood. Quote, "In Am's structure, demon princes exist at the top of the droplet, and are, to some extent, out of the circle of existence. Barring a major calamity or uprising, no demon prince need fear a plunge back into the reservoir of fiends below. Baelors, Meriliths, and other powerful demons stand below their princes and remain somewhat removed from the masses of demons. They possess some individuality and can gain favor with their lords. However, if they become too dangerous or fail in their service, the demon princes or the Abyss itself can plunge them back into the general pool." End quote. In 4th edition, once again, I could not find a hierarchy. In terms of promotion, demons promote themselves by binding other demons to their service. The more demons subservient to it, the stronger it will become. Such rituals of binding require them to consume souls. They acquire these souls by buying them from creatures that sell them, such as night hags, eating soul larvae, killing creatures with souls, acquiring demonic parasites or mortal thralls, or possessing a mortal creature and using it to seek and gain power. In order to become a demon lord in 4th edition, it requires accomplishing 4 tasks. The first is to complete the process of ascension, consuming enough soul energy to transform into a more powerful form and force other demons to obey you, which typically involves rising to the power equivalent of a Baelor or greater. The second task is to discover its true name. Then, they must take command of an abyssal layer, and finally, they must create an aspect. In 5th edition, a demon's promotion is based solely on their raw power and strength. As they fight and kill more creatures, they can change themselves into more powerful forms. If you want to ascend to a higher form, you need to kill more. A demon lord can also raise lesser demons into greater forms out of necessity. However, they rarely promote one to the highest ranks, afraid that they will create one that could rival their power. In terms of the hierarchy, it goes back to the 1st edition classification system of types 1 through 6, and in terms of which demon is what type, it's actually the exact same as 1st edition, other than that a couple extra demons were added. The type 1 demons are the Barlugora, Shadow Demon, and Vrak. Type 2 demons are the Chasmi and Hezru. Type 3 demons are the Glabrizu and Yaklul. Type 4 the Nalfezhni. Type 5 the Merilith. And Type 6 demons are the Baelor and the Goristro. In terms of the role and behavior of each demon type, they're pretty consistent throughout the editions. However, I did notice a couple small differences between 5th and 2nd edition. The Nalfezhni are the judges of souls in 2nd edition, but 5th edition doesn't mention any soul judging at all. It just says that the Nalfezhni are formidable in battle, and they keep larders of mortals captured from the material plane to devour an opulent feast. The Hezrus are said to command armies of lesser demons in 2nd edition, but in 5th edition, they are said to be the basic foot soldiers. The Mali Day in 5th edition do the same thing as in 2nd edition, which is to ensure loyalty to the Blood War, but they also act as personal servants to demon lords, guarding their lairs and demon amulets and going on personal quests for them. Politics. Just like in my last demon video, All the information I will be discussing for the rest of this video is all from the 2nd edition Planescape book, Faces of Evil: The Fiends. I couldn't really find much information on the politics of demons in the other editions. The tanar'ri don't have the complicated, rigorous political system favored by the Batazu, but they still must play the political game. Politics in the Abyss is just a matter of who holds the greatest power, in numbers, strength, magic, and reach, or who appears to. The tanar'ri throw their loyalty toward the stronger side unless they're personally threatened or believe that they're going to be threatened. In that case, they try to convince their fellows that they are the strongest in order to gain allies against the apparent usurper. Tanar'ri love toppling whatever someone else has built high. They hate people being above them and having the potential to oppress them and tell them what to do. So, when a demon rises high in the Abyss, they need to downplay their power to prevent them from becoming a target, but they still need to maintain their strength to keep their control by force if needed. They also don't want to make themselves look too weak because that also opens the door to assault. They have to keep a fine balance. The Abyss and all the outer planes are built upon belief. In order to be truly convincing, you need to believe it yourself, and the greatest tanar'ri do it so well they fool even themselves. In the outer planes, strong belief can make something a reality. The mortal-given classifications are just a broad estimate of power. Sure, if a Vrock tries to threaten a Barlugora into submission, the Barlugora might cite the mortal-given hierarchy by stating that 90% of Barlugoras are stronger than Vrocks. Are you sure you really want to challenge me? But then that same Barlugora being bossed around by a Balor might tell the Balor, look, we know the classifications mean nothing, for puny mortal minds cannot comprehend our freedom and strength. Look how much bigger my arms are than you, Balor. Deep down, you know you would lose against me, so shut up and listen. In short, abyssal politics are based on the tanar'ri doing whatever they need to do from moment to survive and thrive. Posture. The weaker tanar'ri associate appearance with strength, avoiding the fiends that seem more intimidating. If a higher tanar'ri wants to communicate with a lower, it adopts a brutally fierce form that it can understand and fear. If a higher tanar'ri meets with another of the same rank, it takes on a more subtly imposing shape. Among the highest members of the race, true tanar'ri and up, the political games rely on more than just appearance and cruelty. They depend on posture, gestures, word choice, and scores of factors beyond the comprehension of lesser tanar'ri. Survival is no longer the only goal, but domination over the Abyss by extending their wills across the layers. The Abyssal Lords each hold to a personal vision and work against each other. They might make alliances every now and then, but they always expect to be betrayed and figure it's best to betray the others first. Overall, nothing is ever certain, and the one rule they all follow is, trust nothing and no one. Although, making absolute statements about the chaotic evil tanar'ri is a fool's game. Parasites of power. Rising to the top in tanar'ric society is slow, difficult, and most of the time ends in death. Some tanar'ri are so desperate for power, respect, and safety, they cling to a powerful demon as a parasite. These parasites of power give up their wills completely to the demon, doing any act they are commanded to do, no matter how humiliating. They do this just for the privilege of saying they know and serve someone of importance. They sacrifice their own chance of becoming the same kind of importance. They hope to make themselves seem more powerful, destructive, and interesting. They learn all they can about their masters, and they try to emulate their actions. There are stories of some of these parasites overthrowing their masters, having learned their lessons too well, but ultimately, it is a life of eternal submission. Lord versus Prince. So previously in this video, I stated that in 1st edition, demon princes rule layers, and demon lords are beneath them, only ruling part of a layer. In 2nd edition, it's a bit more complicated. Tanar'ri change their title constantly, switching to whatever they think will garner them power and respect. They care not for others' rules of titles and hierarchy. Although a prince is above a lord in mortal hierarchies, the tanar'ri don't care and do what they want. The abyssal lords hold the real power. These are the ones that actually rule a layer, or at least a section of a layer, while the abyssal princes live in fortresses on the plane of infinite portals, that is, the first layer of the abyss, aka Pazunia, commanding massive armies. They give themselves fancy titles and try to kill the other princes so that they can rise higher in the eyes of the masses. This is so that they can one day find a layer to wrestle into submission, becoming an abyssal lord. So the lords are the actual demons ruling layers, and the princes are just wannabe lords living in a fortress on the first layer, trying their darndest to become a lord. Now, demon lords can be anything, including non-demon outsiders. For example, Lolth is not a demon, she's a drow goddess that just came to the Abyss. Rumors have it that Grazit used to be an archdevil that just went to the Abyss and conquered it. While the demon princes are always demons. They are always tanar'ri. Normally a Baelor or some other powerful tanar'ri. Controlling a layer. So how exactly does a demon go about controlling a layer and becoming a demon lord? Marching an army on an empty layer isn't enough to control it. They must do two things. 1. Drive the natives of the layer into submission, and 2. Shape the land itself to fit their will and vision. The layers themselves are sentient. They respond to their masters and can swallow unworthy Berks whole. So if a prince tries to take over a layer, but does not have the force of will to change it to his desires, he will be absorbed into the land, becoming part of the land's power used to resist the next prince. The more times someone fails to rule a layer, the harder it is for the next one to conquer it. If a layer goes too long without absorbing someone, it slides away into nothingness, getting absorbed into other layers. They shrink into little realms until it can absorb another prince. Sometimes it makes a deal with the prince who wants to rule it in order to keep its existence. This absorption of failure can happen to abyssal lords that already control the layer, if the layer deems them unworthy. And that is the lore on the politics and hierarchy of demons throughout all 5 editions of Dungeons & Dragons. If you're curious about how the Abyss itself works and what it's like there, stay tuned for my next video that will cover the infinite layers of the Abyss. I hope you enjoyed this video, and remember to subscribe for more D&D related content.